My name is Mike Spradin. I am 61 years old, and I was born into an Air Force family, a career Air Force family, and was lucky enough to live all over the United States, and have two beautiful children by my first marriage and a third by my now relationship of 20 years. And I'm really proud of those ladies. This story is a very interesting one. My better half and I were in New Orleans celebrating Mardi Gras in 2020, whooping it up like you do at Mardi Gras, having a really great time. We came back here to Grand Junction and had some family come out to see us to do some late season skiing. Everything was still lovely. Restaurants were doing well. The economy was doing well. We had plenty of employees. I was taking a hike with a friend of ours and Sarah and noticed that I had a little shortness of breath that I had never had walking up a pretty small incline. And then also playing golf, I realized I was having a hard time making it from the green back up to my cart out at Redlands Mesa, also extreme shortness of breath. Well, I happened to have an appointment scheduled with an orthopedic man about a 60-year-old knee that I needed to take care of. And while I was sitting talking to him, I explained to him about my shortness of breath and some swelling that I was having in a leg. And he seemed really alarmed, and he told me, look, we're going to cut this orthopedic appointment off right now, and we're going to take you over and get you x-rayed because something doesn't sound right. And he took me immediately to have an x-ray. And immediately from the x-ray was forwarded to the pulmonology department. And the pulmonologist went on to tell me that I had idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, lung scarring, and I could expect to live about 3 to 5 years. Well, this was all happening right when COVID started, and we just found out we had this new incurable lung disease. And Sarah and I were frantic. We WebMD'd ourselves to death. We were told that if we got COVID, I would die. I mean, point blank, told just like that. So we became hermits, more or less. Immediately asked for a referral over to National Jewish Hospital in Denver, which hosts the nation's best interstitial lung disease clinic, which works on things like idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. And my diagnosis was, my affliction was re-diagnosed as something called hypersensitivity pneumonitis with chronic fibrosing that continues to worsen. Sounds great, doesn't it? Basically, what that means is something that had entered my lungs had caused my own immune system to go into overdrive. And when your lungs try and repair scarring, they manufacture collagen, and the collagen goes over the scar in an attempt to repair it. And then when your immune system just takes off and is unthrottled, it keeps doing the same thing. And it keeps putting collagen over collagen over collagen over collagen until that piece of your lung no longer is functioning. Big round numbers, I went from 100% lung capacity to 31% lung capacity in less than a year. I went from not ever having oxygen in my life to having 15 liters of oxygen necessary 24 hours a day. Even that chokes me up just to think about it. This will happen a few times. These emotions are still very fresh. It's just crazy, the things you never think that will happen to you that automatically do. So while being under the care of the very talented people at National Jewish, we got to a spot. I was on some crazy new drugs, expensive ones, $550 a pill, $130,000 a year with the attempt of trying to slow the scarring in my lungs. And some people it worked for and some it slowed down their scarring, but once again, there's no cure whatsoever. So Sarah and I finally got to a place where the conversation was, what is our next step? And the only step was lung transplant. Well, this is during COVID. We're in the restaurant business. We're scared to get sick or be around anyone that has COVID because we've been told I'll die. And now we've been dealt the card, you need to have a lung transplant. So we went and started researching what we should do to get a lung transplant, where we should have a lung transplant. I happened to have an old friend that I played guitar with in high school that I had reacquainted myself with, and he had another musician friend who happened to be on the executive board of UNOS, which is the United Network of Organ Sharing, which is actually kind of the clearinghouse for organs in the United States. If you need a kidney, you got to call them. If you need a pair of lungs, you also have to call them. So I was able to talk to this guy and find out how transplant centers were graded. And this is a bit alarming. The way that transplant centers are graded is on their mortality rates, on the 1-year, 3-year, and 5-year life expectancies. During double lung transplant recipients, 1 out of 3 do not make it past the first year, and 3 out of 10 don't make it the 5th year, and 5 out of 10 don't make it by the 5th year. Kind of startling. Anyway, we chose a place in Phoenix called the Norton Transplant Center at St. Joseph's Hospital. And we were approved by our insurance here with Rocky Mountain Health Plans, and were approved to be evaluated, and we went down for 2 weeks of vigorous testing. Crazy stuff, every test you can think of, 2 weeks straight. And then your information has to go before a board, and you have to be voted worthy, because they don't want to waste a set of lungs on someone who they don't think will make it. Children always have first pick. If there's a child on a list and a set of lungs come up that fit, the child always gets them before an older person. They don't like to do lung transplants for folks older than 65. So we went down, we were evaluated, and luckily we were accepted. Another incredibly emotional day in our lives. And I should drop back just a little bit to really what I'm going to leave you with when I'm done today, and that is I had a friend who turned me on to a book by David Goggins called You Can't Hurt Me. I don't know if you all are familiar with that. But basically, David Goggins went through SEAL training 3 times, went through Ranger training, became a marathoner, became an ultra-marathoner, went back to teach SEAL training. And basically what David said was, you need to adopt a warrior-like mentality. You don't know what you're capable of until you get put through it. It's the truth. So we adopted one, Sarah and I, in our tribe. And we also started with the mantra of gratefulness. Gratefulness, optimism, and confidence. Just grateful that we had the opportunity to be selected, to qualify and have this operation. It's just crazy. Optimistic that the results were going to go the right way and the transplant would work how it should. And confident in all of these people that were pulling for me. So warrior-like mentality and gratefulness, optimism, and confidence became a mantra for me. Every day when I woke up, I started with what I was thankful for, what I was optimistic about, and what I was confident in, and knowing that I would go after all these things with a warrior-like mentality. Back to the transplant. So we came back to Grand Junction. We were accepted. That's what I forgot to tell you. We were accepted for the transplant, a joyous day in our life. And then we made plans. We came back here, got the restaurants in order, gave all the incredible managers that we have marching orders on what to do when we were gone, and moved to Phoenix. In order to get a transplant, you have to live within 3 hours of the transplant facility because lungs have a shelf life of about 3 hours. And until recently, they have a new device that allows harvested lungs to go into a box where they basically plumb them, and they're able to keep those lungs usable for another 3 hours, which opens up the number of states that you can receive a lung from. So we were accepted, we moved to Phoenix, and we signed the list. 29 days later, 2 of our friends, Peggy and Mike Zagrabowski from here in town, were down having dinner with us, and we got the call while at dinner. We had 3 hours to get to the hospital. We went to the hospital, and this is full-on pre-op. Get ready for a lung transplant. I don't know if you know, but the same doctor that is going to do your transplant is the doctor that goes and harvests the organs from the donor, because they need to take a really good look at how they're plumbed and how things are connected and how it's connected to your esophagus and such. And when they get those organs back, it has to be all thumbs up. And if it's not all thumbs up, it's a dry run. You get unplugged, you go home, and you continue your wait. And that's what happened to us. We got there, I was in a hospital bed, Sarah was with me, we had IVs in, the donor lung showed up, but there wasn't all thumbs up. So it was a dry run. So we went back to what we were doing, which is waiting. And we waited another 29 days. And on that 29th day, we got the call. We knew what emotions to expect because we had been through it before. And we went to St. Joseph's prepared with warrior-like mentality for this transplant. A lung transplant normally takes 8 to 12 hours. Mine took 4. I don't know how that happened, other than a perfect fit. once again, chokes you up. Such a miraculous thing. My surgery took 4 hours. I was in intensive care for 2 days. And I walked on the second day, which is just incredible to think. Hooked up to more pieces of equipment. And if I ever get asked to tell this story again, I won't procrastinate, and I will have the slides to show you all of the equipment that I was hooked up to. But amazing, walking on the second day. And it was on the 7th day, and Sarah and I were in the room, and there was I don't know how many doctors in the room. Sarah stopped and said, hey, we should take a moment and pause here. It's exactly 7 days to the minute that you rolled out of the operating room. And as we did that, Dr. Tokman, one of our favorite transplant doctors, walked in and said, would you all like to go home? I still had chest tubes in, and I really thought about this quickly, and I thought to myself, no, I don't want to go home. I'd like to stay here with the surgeons, the doctors, all this expensive equipment, and people to take care of me. Nothing against Sarah, but this is all new to us, and it's only been 7 days, and we were prepared to be in the hospital for months because everything we had read said that. So a 4-hour operation, 2 days in intensive care, and on our 7th day, we were out of the hospital, and I walked out after being rolled to the front door. I got up and walked and got in our car, and we went back to our place in Phoenix with a brand new set of lungs. You have to stay after you get transplanted. You have to stay near the facility for a number of months, 6 to 8 weeks before you can use your arms, because when you have a lung transplant, they cut you from armpit across your sternum to armpit, and then they take a saw and cut your sternum this way so that they can open you up this way, and that way. Here, sutured with staples, about 50 of them. So 6 to 8 weeks there, going to clinic every day, having lung function tests done, having blood work done, seeing if there's any rejection, going to physical therapy. We also, after adopting that warrior-like mentality, we asked if we could start physical therapy before the transplant, which we did. We made some great friends there, and things that you wouldn't take for granted. Things that you would take for granted is what I meant to say. You can't use your arms. So next time you get up out of a chair, try not using your arms, or off the toilet seat. So you practice sitting stands forever, making sure that you can get up off of a toilet seat, or out of a chair, or out of bed. And that really paid off for us. So we stayed in Phoenix, and all of our follow-ups were incredible. We teased. I told them, this is one of my favorite things. They told me they thought I was one of the top 2 rehabilitations from a double lung transplant out of 1,000 people. A lot of confidence. Incredible. Still chokes me up. But we made it through our 8 weeks, and we were able to come home. So much to be grateful for. Our businesses were still intact and running. We were breathing room air with no issues. We had made this incredible recovery. We had the support of friends and family in our tribe. It was just unbelievable, and it continues to this day. On April the 30th of this year was my 1-year anniversary from transplant. Thank you. Making it the first year is a real big deal. We made it with almost no rejection, and we have to this day had no drug interactions that were negative. None, 0. We check our lung function regularly. We were lucky enough to be enrolled in a new program that allows lung function tests to be done at your dining room table, with results being real-time communicated to the hospital in Phoenix. And my lung function is above 100% of what they had predicted, and continues to improve. So just crazy. We have a lot to be grateful for every day. And on 4/30, on my anniversary, prior to my 1-year anniversary, Sarah and I were trying to think of a way that we could pay forward all these things that happened to us and for us by a lot of incredible people. Well, I forgot to tell you that before the surgery, we had T-shirts made that said, "No Mo O2," with a picture of lungs on them. And Sarah had sent them to all of our friends and members of our tribe that had committed to wearing these on the day of transplant and sending us videos and pictures to help bolster this positive attitude and this warrior-like mentality we were going into. So I don't recall the number of shirts, but I would bet that it was 60 or 80, and certainly on the day of the transplant, when the word got out, we were flooded with videos and pictures of folks sporting the No More O shirt. So we formed a nonprofit, Sarah and I, called No More O2. And on 4/30, on the anniversary, I'm going to get choked up, of my transplant, we held a golf tournament out at Adobe Creek. We had 140 golfers. We had 40 hole sponsors. We had 5 or 6 big dollar sponsors. It was very well attended. I knew the people that did the food. The food was also good. They had barbecue. And we raised a substantial sum, $20,000 or more, that we are taking back to the Transplant Center, where the Transplant Center is establishing a new program where all of this money, with no administration fee, will go directly to folks who can't afford some of the cost associated with a procedure like this. And just think for a minute if tomorrow you had to leave your home and your job and go and maintain residence in another city and staying there for 6 to 8 months, if you're lucky. Not many people can do that, and a lot of people end up in medical bankruptcy, and even after a life-saving operation, end up with their life in toil because of that. So this is straight money, right to help these families. We hope to do it every year, and it has just been wonderful. And if I can, really quick, this one's going to choke me up, so you're going to have to bear with me for one moment. My caretaker, Sarah, is here, if she would stand. Lung transplant's a team sport. You have to have a caretaker. You're not able to take care of this stuff for yourself when you're recovering. She helps me manage about 40 prescriptions that I take twice daily, that I'll take every day for the rest of my life. That's the other thing I didn't share with you, that when you have a transplant, they're very sure to tell you that they're not curing you. What they're doing is they're giving you the ability to breathe, but they're making you a professional patient. And these folks down at St. Joseph's in the post-transplant system are like family. I see them once a month. In fact, on my 12-month checkup, I'm spaced out to 2 months. But you go all the time. They measure your levels of rejection, your kidney health. The biggest thing that kills people that have lung transplants is kidney failure, because your kidneys can't take all of these medicines that you take constantly. But if I could leave you with one thing, if you got something bad happening to you, wake up in the morning, be grateful. Be optimistic, and be confident in that optimism and that gratefulness. And if you have to face something crazy, adopt that warrior-like mentality. And remember, there's a lot of power in the collective faith of your tribe, and they all don't have to have faith in the same thing. They don't have to worship the same person. But when all those people are putting positive juju out there for you, you can feel it. I did. Thank you.